Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to the Map of the Year series 2022 with me, BonBonB. I'm BonBonB, you're very, very welcome. Well, we're up to episode 5 of 7 with one more category to come tomorrow, followed by the Map of the Year itself on New Year's Day. Today we've got two maps which fall into what I'm going to call the realistic category, although they're realistic in two very, very different ways. Today's first map is Dawnland by Captain Alex, and I know right now that people watching this, maybe seeing Dawnland for the first time, are gonna look at it and scratch their heads and go, "You've really got this as one of the maps of the year, really?" Yes, I have, and there are some very strong reasons for that one. See, the thing is, the map I know doesn't have the wow factor. It really doesn't. In the same way, if you've got a choice between building a map based on the Grand Canyon and a map based on the prairies, the map with the Grand Canyon will have a lot more wow factor. But which one will be better for building a good city on? Well, I would say the prairies one. Admittedly, it'll also be a bit more boring because it's just going to be flat land. What we have here, I feel, is given the location that we're looking to work at, I feel we've got a perfectly perfect representation of the area for a City Skylines multi-town build. We're down on the coast of Maine. Maine is a little bit mundane, a little bit underplayed. We have some soft rolling hills, we have some nice gentle rivers leading down to the coast, we have some nice lakes without being spellbindingly beautiful, we've got a lot of tree coverage, and we have got a few little cleared areas with these little pre-built sections of roads just to inspire you to get started building a bunch of small towns across the map. The map is perfect for what it needs to be. I do have one grumble. Let's get the grumble out of the way. I think there's too much water in terms of coast. I think there's probably at least 33% too much water. If you could take the entire map, shunt it 33% into the water, you would still have a good amount of ocean, a very good amount of ocean. You would still have all of the islands that are popped out there to give you something a bit to play with. I don't think the islands really add too much to the map, but they're there and they will definitely make a bit of fun gameplay for somebody. But what works for me is the land and the way that land is being used. Now, 33% more land will equal a little bit more gameplay fun. And even if the land isn't really playable land, maybe it's just put there with some more harsher hills to just add a bit of boundary and a bit of backdrop, I think it's going to be a little bit better than just having acres and acres and acres of empty ocean. That criticism aside, this map just shines for me. It caught my eye. When I did fly over this, I thought, this map does something that I've not seen. I've seen done in other maps, but nowhere near as well as this one felt. This one just felt right, where the other ones have felt interesting. This one felt right. And for that, Captain Alex, and I'm a fan of your work right from the early days. When you see a good Captain Alex map, you know it's a very good Captain Alex map. This one, like I say, it's underplayed. It doesn't have the wow factor. It does have the standards. It does have the little wetland area just going out of view now. We've got an interesting coast. We've got a whole bunch of interesting little islands out there. We've got, like I say, the right size, I feel, for the small towns. This small town here is the start square with a little harbour area as well. And it is all just subtly underplayed. The roads are down there. You can knock them out or you can use them as a template. It's a lovely map. It's a very lovely map. Now we're going to pull the camera back in a moment. I'll show you how much sea there is and whether or not you'd agree with me with the amount of coast that, well, we've got the right amount of coast, but the amount of sea, the amount of open ocean we've got, it's just, I think, just a tad too much. But I would still play this map in a heartbeat. if I wanted to play this sort of build, which I may do in the future. So anyway, Dawnland by Captain Alex. That's the first of our 2 realistic maps. This one realistic in the way it feels exactly right for what it needs to be. Today's second map, as you probably noticed by the flyover, many of you will be screaming with delight that I have decided to pick it as one of my maps of the year. And I would say to you, how could it not be? How on earth could it not be? Let's say goodbye to Dawnland by Captain Alex. What a lovely map. Lovely, lovely map. Today's second map, realistic because detailing. And also, for the longest time, it's really ripped at me. I know I was talking yesterday, was it yesterday? The fantasy maps with Rockshore Coast. I said that it was one of those maps that for a while I was toying with for being map of the year. This one, for the longest time, in fact, since seeing it, it had to be map of the year. Apart from one thing, and yes, I am going to go on about it again, but I am also going to praise LCC at the same time as I do so. It's Praia, LCC 1983. This is stunning, but not just stunning, it's game breaking. And game breaking in a good way, not a bad way. I know how many of you have had problems with mods, and it has mods which have really broken your game. This one won't. It has a liberal amount of procedural objects dropped in there, including highway signs. We've got lovely field layouts. We've got an amazing. The whole thing is stunning. There's not one unstunning area on the map. And yes, of course, the mountains. Not those mountains. If you've not seen this map before, not those mountains. If you blinked during the flyover on the intro, those mountains, yeah, we'll have a little look at those as we come back the other way. But I'll follow the valley down, and we'll follow this networking down, and you're just taking some of the detailing. The quality throughout this map is astounding, and if it hadn't been for that one thing, this isn't just map of the year. It's standout map of the year, and arguably map of all time. Arguably. And that's me putting it up against Revelstoke, which is my greatest map of all time. Yeah, this is a phenomenon. An absolute phenomenon. Quality through and through, and I adore it. But, and here comes the thing. A little bit of prop glitching there. I just noticed that decal glitching. That might be my settings. If you like the fields down there, if that's not supposed to be like that, that's my fault. I apologise. Anyway, let's talk about that thing that I have to grumble about, and that is this main river. Now I'm going to give some credit to LCC. I've had a look at the river, and it's nowhere near as broken as it was when I did the original review. The original review, this river was basically awful. It looked beautiful. When it was full, it looked beautiful, but it had stop-start. It was rippling very, very badly right the way down it. And on a map like this, where you are going to be mostly doing it for aesthetics, you're going to be doing it to get some great screenshots, this river was not doing it for me. And yes, I did go on to mention the river in that valley directly ahead of us there. Right on that, I would have ignored that river, that little side river, had it not been for the big river. But when you've got the big river doing things, and then the little side river, which was just a little bit gloopy. Again, it's tucked in the valley there. Nobody's going to notice it. But my interest was already piqued because of the big river. Now, credit to LCC. I think they've gone back and tried to fix the river. I see a spawn point, a control point on the river, and the river is nowhere near as stop-start as it was. It is, however, a little bit lumpy in the bottom section as we're going down to the river delta. Look at the fields. Just look at the fields. But I have to give credit to LCC. I'm sure this is a case of them going back, listening to criticism, going back and improving the map. The map, which was exceptional, is now even closer to perfection. I'm not going to try and fix the river myself. The thing is, if you're skilled enough to want to do a detailer build, fixing the bottom part of that river isn't going to be a huge problem for you. I'm absolutely certain that top level map city builders will just fix the river as they're playing it. But it isn't stupidly broken. In fact, I did have one person say along the lines of, yeah, I tried building a city in the bottom part of the river. My city flooded because of the problems. So yes, the only reason why this is a map of the year is because of a slightly broken bottom part of the river, which looks like it's been mostly fixed. Mostly. And I do have a map that I can't fault coming on New Year's Day. So there we go. Well, amongst all the other things with this map, though, amongst all of the other things, these pointy mountains, we've got one on the right just off the screen as well. We're going to do a slow pan across the top of these mountains. These are higher than the game will allow you to build. Oh, man. I mean, game breaking. We all knew that you could build higher if you use props and mods and whatever. But to see somebody do this, not just go slightly higher than the game will allow, but to absolutely rip through the ceiling of what the game will allow. And not just that, look at the detailing. Look at the quality. This feels like part of the terrain. This doesn't feel like rocks that have been dropped on the top of a mountain. These feel like they are the top of a mountain. And just look at the transition between the actual main rocks, and then we've got these like shale, just broken rocks, just breaking, and then running down the valleys. Everything about this is exactly how I would want it to be. Quality doesn't even begin to describe this. Got some sirens coming for the BonBonBingo players. Thank you very much. But yes, I mean, look at this. This is just phenomenal. I have no words. Well, I do. I have phenomenal. I have wow, and it's exceptional. I can't liken it to anything. It is standout, and it is basically map of the year. It's broken the game. It's set standards that I don't think people are going to be able to match, probably ever. I say that, and yet people keep pushing the boundaries and keep pushing the boundaries. But yes, and even that, saying all of that, Praia by ILCC 1983 does actually run on a a mid-level PC. I think they've got something like an i7 themselves. They're not, not the most potent of PCs, and even then they were able to run this one really, really smoothly. Praia by ILCC 1983. This is my realistic map of the year. Realistic because just look at it. It's so nice. Now I have one more category coming for you tomorrow. That will be in the alternative biome category. Yes, it's a new category for me, but I had two that stood out that had to be included, so we've got them coming. And then, of course, the Map of the Year final coming right up on New Year's Day. You can check out the best map of the year, along with one notable runner-up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching.